Howdy mates, here's the second video while visiting Indian Mound Reserve near Cedarville, Ohio. This video I want to focus upon the mayapple, also known as the Podophyllum peltatum. These are another example of a native plant found in the state of Ohio. And it's all around us, except with the honeysuckle, of course, that is invasive. But mayapple is actually very useful in our wooded habitats. Reason being is, as a matter of fact, one of our native moths, which includes the White Slantline Moth, they can match to the petals of the flower that belongs to mayapple, and they can rely on them during the daylight hours for resting. However, though, the actual flower of the mayapple hasn't quite started yet. But when the petal does start, or the actual flower itself, it has a very white appearance, and then there's usually yellow stamens on the inside. Like on this one, you can kind of see, you see that dot right there along the stem? That is basically the start of the flower. So it's still a tad bit early for the mayapple right now. But what's neat about them is they highly focus on vegetative development as opposed to sexual reproduction. And a neat property that mayapple has is their rhizomatus. I know that's like a very fancy term, but their rhizomatus roots, they kind of form a network beneath the soil. So that's why at this particular spot right here, that's why we're seeing like a whole colony of them as opposed to just a couple. And another way, and when I was mentioning about, they don't really focus on sexual reproduction, that's why usually they don't really produce that much nectar at all, because they're just more focused on the developing part. Whereas some other flowers, they do highly focus on sexual reproduction. Yeah, they're very versatile, as a matter of fact. And another way of how they can disperse too is, I'm sure some of you have heard of the eastern box turtle, as a matter of fact, and they like to eat the actual fruit off of them. And that's how the plant gets its name, is the actual fruit that it produces. It's like a greenish white. It kind of looks a little bit like an apple, and that's where the name stuck. So you figure with eastern box turtles that are native to Ohio, they like to eat these, and then they're more or less fecal matter that is dispersed in a given area. Those seeds can, in due time, establish where they are and reproduce. And that's another way of how it's done, really. No way to sugarcoat that one. But yeah, the mayapple. Yeah, these are like really common, especially. I think I hear some blue jays in the background. Yep. Pretty much any reserve that you go to, pretty much you are bound to see the mayapple. So as I said before, I'll share like an article or two just to tell them a bit more about the mayapple itself, so you guys are able to learn a bit further about them. Because I'm sure like even mayapple you can plant in your gardens too, as a matter of fact. But as I said before, if we didn't have our mayapple, our population of the eastern box turtle would be at risk. So that's why, as I've said before, we have to have our native plants, because some of our fellow wildlife homies highly depend on them as part of their diet. So alright, hope you guys got something out of the video, and it is getting a bit closer to May, so it'll also be a bit more befitting for the plant itself too. And May is one of my favorite months of the year. So alright, hope all of you enjoy your Sunday, and Journey on a Journey is outwards. Take care, folks.